So that time draws near, the end of 2009, the beginning of 2010, a whole clean slate. But before we start the new year, I have some business to deal with, namely the business of the Bride Wars Challenge. Now, regular visitors here at the Kermode Uncut site will know that what happened, I think it was back in March, was I made a pretty rash promise. I'd started off the year really badly with Bride Wars and I hated it. And I said if there were 10 movies worse than Bride Wars this year, I was going to quit. I was going to give up film criticism completely. And I meant it. I know a lot of you thought that I didn't, but I really did mean it. I didn't want to be doing a job which meant seeing 10 films worse than Bride Wars in a year. And I asked you to suggest, possible candidates for films that were worse than Bride Wars. I had my own list. And you did so very enthusiastically. In fact, I was in Belfast just last month and I was given a gift, which was a Bride Wars advent calendar. I mean, every little window that you opened, behind it was a suggestion for a movie worse than Bride Wars, all the way through the month of December. And I don't know the names of the people that gave it to me, but thank you very much. I'd be showing it to you now, but it's attached to my wall at home. It's not going anywhere because I've been opening them one by one, but I'm through the end of it. And I'd just like to say that despite your efforts, I am still here, but thank you for the gift. So, how did the year pan out in terms of that all-important top 10? Well, the movies that I started with back in March to say, these are the obvious candidates. Transformers 2, stinker, total stinker. Charles Dickens' England, arguably shouldn't have been in the list because arguably wasn't really a movie, but I allowed it to go in because it was so really terrible. Marley and Me, a film that's less fun than having a real dog put down. Dance Flick, a movie which existed purely, I think, to remind us just how great all those spoof movies like Airplane used to be decades ago and how much the whole idea of the parody movie has fallen away into something which is really putrid and horrible. Miss March, a loathsome, vile, misogynist comedy with nothing about it of any redeeming value at all. And then there were a couple of disputed titles. I said that I didn't think Couples Retreat, the Vince Vaughn movie, should be allowed to go in the list because it wasn't worse than Bride Wars. It was exactly as bad as Bride Wars. And to prove the point, I'd actually gone back and watched the two of them back to back. I mean, I suffered. I suffered for the science. And I figured out, no, it's equal. And I said, well, it's not going in the list. And many of you wrote and saying, Mark, you're cheating. You're cheating. You're just, it's a technicality. Couples Retreat should be on the list. You know what? You can have Couples Retreat. You can have Couples Retreat on the list. Also, many of you wrote in saying, Mark, Terminator Salvation is clearly worse than Bride Wars. I mean, it isn't. It's an awful film. It's a McGee film. Of course it's terrible, but it isn't worse than Bride Wars. But you know what? Just because of the sheer volume of mail saying it's worse, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give because I am the gift that keeps giving. I do listen to what you say. I am paying attention. You know what? If you think that Terminator Salvation was that bad, I'll buy it. You can have Terminator Salvation. Actually, the real ace in the hole was Sherlock Holmes, the Guy Ritchie movie. It was Boxing Day release. I know you all thought, if that's going to be in there, it's going to be... And guess what? Turns out Guy Ritchie made a decent movie. So, I figure, even with allowing you Couples Retreat and Terminator Salvation, that still puts Bride Wars at number 8 in the list of the worst movies of the year. Only 7 movies worse than Bride Wars this year. It's in at number 8. That means I am safely home and dry. So, thank you for your correspondence. Thank you for your enthusiasm. I have listened. I have paid attention. Here's a happy new year, because I'm not going anywhere. Cheers.